Last month, the world came together to make fun of a ship. This image of a lone bulldozer trying to rescue this stuck giant triggered the most self-serving form of conversation in the world. Memes. They reached all of us, and they were outrageously funny. There were metaphorical interpretations, pop culture references, real-life parallels that were disturbingly hilarious, explanations that were quite comical, and solutions that were a bit too ambitious. The internet had a gala time. But there were some who weren't quite amused because capitalism had just suffered a heart attack. The main artery of maritime trade had been blocked. Ships ferrying cargo worth billions couldn't move. Thankfully, this crisis is now over. Ever Given has been freed and is floating again. But it may take another week to unsnarl the traffic, weeks more to fix the crippled supply chains, and perhaps many months to undo the economic loss. But how exactly did the ship get stuck? How was it refloated? Who is to be blamed for the crisis and who is to be compensated? Also, what lessons should we learn and what is the extent of the damage done? Hello and welcome to Gravitas Plus. I'm Palki Sharma Upadhyay. Maritime transport is called the backbone of global trade. Much of what we use and consume in our everyday lives is transported by ships. They're responsible for carrying at least 90% of the world's goods. And if you were to ask sailors which is the most important waterway for these ships, some would say it's the Strait of Malacca or the South China Sea. Some would say it's the Panama Canal, this waterway connecting the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. But a majority would tell you the most important waterway in the world is this, the Suez Canal. I'm sure you all recall studying about it in school. The Suez Canal is a shortcut built in 1859, or at least the canal that we know today. A similar canal was built by ancient Egyptians in the 19th century BC. This was during the rule of the Middle Kingdom and on the instruction of Pharaoh Senusret II. Today, the Suez Canal is a 193-kilometer long waterway. It connects the Mediterranean Sea with the Red Sea, the Atlantic Ocean with the Indian Ocean, and ultimately Europe with Asia. It was quite a revolutionary project back in the day. It gave Imperial Europe access to its Asian colonies and for Asian countries an easy access to European markets. Through this canal, a ship traveling from, let's say, Port Sudan to Antalya, Turkey, would only have to travel around 2,000 kilometers. Before the canal, the ships had to sail around Africa and travel at least 23,000 kilometers. So this canal is quite important. It took 10 years and 1.5 million workers to build it. And one mega ship blocked it in a matter of minutes. The Ever Given. I know the name of the ship has also been a source of a lot of confusion for many. Is it the Ever Given or the Evergreen? Well, Ever Given is the official name of the ship. Evergreen is the name of the company which operates it. It's a Taiwanese company. So Ever Given was bound for Rotterdam from Malaysia. But it ran aground and got stuck. How did this happen? Well, no one really knows. It could have been anything, a human error, a technical glitch, or just a strong gust of wind. The circumstances are being investigated, so no one can say for sure at the moment. Whatever be the reason, here's something that nobody would deny. It is tough to navigate through the Suez. It's one of the busiest waterways in the world. 12% of the global trade passes through it. And on an average, one ship takes around 12 to 16 hours to cover the 193-kilometer long stretch. That's because it has to squeeze in through the narrow stretch of water. This requires a lot of patience and precision, which is why time and again vessels end up running aground here. The Ever Given is not the first ship to hold maritime trade hostage. In 2004, an oil tanker named Tropic Brilliance ran aground after some mechanical problems. It wedged itself across the conduit, just like the Ever Given, for at least 3 days. Then in 2006, a 93,000-ton cargo ship from Hong Kong veered off course and blocked the canal for 8 hours. That same year, a British container ship had an engine failure. It got stuck, held up traffic, and diverted ships to other routes. And the most recent such incident was in 2017 when a Japanese container ship blocked the passageway for several hours. But none of these mishaps led to a billion-dollar traffic jam because they were for shorter periods and the stakes were not so high back then. The Ever Given, on the other hand, squatted in the canal for a good 6 days. That's like an eternity. Ask the Chinese. They could produce 1 million fake replicas of iPhones in 6 days. So what exactly happened with the Ever Given? Here's the most commonly accepted theory. As the ship reached the middle of the canal, it was reportedly hit by an enormous sandstorm. This reduced visibility and battered the ship with heavy winds. Blowing at around 74 kilometers per hour, these winds were said to have limited the ship's ability to steer, causing it to drift and ultimately run aground. But like I said, the exact science behind it is still being investigated. Some also blame the sheer size of the Ever Given. It's one of the largest container ships in the world, the size of a skyscraper. 399.4 meters long. That's taller than the Eiffel Tower and almost the same size as the Empire State Building. The Suez Canal authorities placed limits on the size of ships, with vessels larger than 400 meters needing special permission. The Ever Given was shy of this limit by just 6 centimeters. And to add to that, the width of the Suez Canal stretch, it's 275 meters. That's 125 meters lesser than the vessel itself. The circumstances were less than ideal. So how was the ship freed? To start with, there was round-the-clock digging on the shore, accompanied by round-the-clock dredging in the water. Around 30,000 cubic meters of sand was removed. That's enough to fill up about a dozen Olympic-sized swimming pools. And besides these two steps, tugboats worked endlessly to pull and push the vessel into the center of the waterway, and nature helped with some spring high tides. This added a few inches of water inside the canal, making the rescue easier. On the 29th of March, the ship was set afloat again. The Egyptian team of rescuers on their tugboat, interestingly named Mashur, couldn't hide their excitement. But the internet wasn't too happy. Many people revolted, demanding that the ship be put back. They were miffed that the fun and the meme fest had ended. Egypt, for which the canal is a source of national pride and crucial revenue, saw the jam as a national crisis. The canal CEO says Egypt will seek compensation worth $1 billion. The question is, who exactly will they seek this compensation from? It's a question the Suez authorities have not yet answered. What about the extent of the damage? In numbers, 12% of global trade came to a halt for a week. $9 billion were lost every day, $400 million every hour, and $6.7 million every minute. Every single day, the canal was closed. Container ships could not take food, fuel, and goods to Europe or bring them back to Asia. From coffee to toilet paper to furniture, the blockage hit the supply of a lot of products. And even now, hundreds of ships are still waiting to enter the canal. The traffic jam persists. It may take another week to clear. The ramifications have been severe. The lessons profound. The Ever Given saga taught us how interdependent we are. Consider the ship itself. It is owned by a Japanese company. It is operated by a container shipping firm based in Taiwan. It is managed by a German company. It is registered in Panama, had Indian crew members sailing it, and was rescued by a coalition of Dutch and Egyptian tugboat operators. The crisis showed how global trade is an intricate web. The materials for your phones, shoes, or the sandwich you had for lunch are produced in one country, processed in another country, and assembled in the third country, packaged somewhere else, and all it took was one ship to disrupt this process. Now, we tried to find the silver lining in this very dark cloud that this crisis was, and all we could come up with was this. It was supposed to be the world's most expensive traffic jam, but thanks to the imagination of some of you, it ended up being the world's most expensive meme.